Hello, this is Joe Polish, president of Piranha Marketing and founder of the Genius Network interview series, and you're about to hear one of my Genius Network interviews, and I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and I hope you find it very useful. If you want to find out more information about some of the interviews and resources that can help you in your business, you can go to www.joepolish.com. And we have a Joe Polish Recommends section with all kinds of resources and vendors and services and products that we recommend that can help you in your business. And also for more useful interviews and a whole list of other people that I've interviewed, you can go to www.geniusnetwork.com. Thanks and enjoy the interview. Hello, this is Joe Polish, and I'm getting ready to do a fantastic interview with my good friend Mike Hill with my media buyer and freetrialmarketing.com. So, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thank you.
Good. We're in Los Angeles. We're in a hotel suite at a conference for our good friend Evan Pagan, and we decided to come down here and harass him and do a Genius Network interview in the midst of all this. So, let's see. There's so many things that you do. I mean, some of your expertise is banner advertising, CPA networks, page creation, offer creation for irresistible offers. You're a master at upsell systems, continuity programs, customer retention, call center scripting, save a sale campaigns, merchant relationships, advanced tracking, mass traffic generation. Those are some things I jotted down here with you. So, but really, what the heck does that actually mean? I'm going to have you do a quick thumbnail sketch of who you are, then I'll share some thoughts and knowledge I have of you, because not only are we friends, but we've worked together. You've helped me design some campaigns, and you've made some very successful marketers millions and millions of dollars, and you work at a very large scale with some of the most sophisticated, innovative strategies for the Internet. So who is Mike Hill, and what do you do?
Well, those things that I do, I don't like to look at any one specific segment of the marketing arena, if you will.
Right.
I think if you look at too much, I'm just going to focus on just upsells as being my business, I think that you may miss the fact that by increasing your upsells too much and having too high of a value per customer, you may lower your lifetime value of your customer. So what I like to do is just one example. I like to look at the entire marketing system as a whole,
okay,
and try and help my clients to figure out what is the best way to deliver the message, starting from the very first point of contact to the customer all the way to the final last point when the customer finally decides to end their relationship with my client. I want to make sure that we track and quantify each of our different steps and results as we move through that entire process. And all those things that you just read there are that entire process. So really, who I am is not someone who's an expert in just one area. I'm a guy who likes to look at the entire picture, because I think when we look at the entire picture, we get a much better result from that.
Gotcha. Well, now the listeners of this interview will be people that have, literally one-person operations that run service businesses, like my carpet upholstery cleaning clients that use my stuff, to people that are, $100 million plus companies to a couple of $1 billion plus corporations that I work with that do very sophisticated Internet marketing. And one of the things that I want to pull out of you, because you have such an expansive knowledge and we have a limited amount of time,
right,
is a lot of not only the systems but the psychology behind selling. Because really what you do is you're a sales and marketing guy first and foremost, and then all the technology stuff that you do is just to maximize sales. So I'm going to ask you a very simple, basic question in the beginning, which is, what is your definition of marketing?
What's my definition of marketing? My definition of marketing would be to solve a problem for your customer that they either know exists or even doesn't know that the problem exists, and to convince them that you are the best person for the job, you have the best product for the job, and to convince them that you're trustworthy of fulfilling that need that they either know or don't know about. And then to basically nurture that relationship with the customer throughout, so that even if you don't potentially solve that problem, you can still be their friend, mentor, or whatever the case may be, so that you can continue to see income and relationship with that customer throughout their entire life, if entirely possible.
Well, good. Well, what I like about what you just said is that I think it's a good starting point too, and this is like jumping ahead. At least I think you'll consider it jumping ahead.
Yeah.
And we'll come back to it maybe. But one of the things that you mentioned, like you came and presented at my $25,000 person coaching group to some very successful marketers, and you kind of went through your system, what it is you do, how you do it. And you mentioned, I've heard you say this several times, is love a lot.
Yeah.
You talk about doing that in the interactions with when someone's in the prospect stage to converting them into a client. What exactly do you mean by that? What does that mean?
Well,
without sounding too foo-fooey.
You have to get kind of a little foo-foo because you really have to believe what you're saying. You can't just sit in a big boardroom, talk about loving your customer without having someone actually love the customer while they're writing the copy or delivering the message. You have to be able to transmit, if you will, across the copy that you're writing, the video that you're shooting, the audio that you're recording, that true and real love that you have for the customer and that you really want to help them solve their problem. I mean, a minute ago I talked about problems they either know or don't know. Some people have a problem that just bothers them, like they'll have a feeling of emptiness or they have a feeling of lack, and they really won't know what they need to fill that lack. If you have the answer to fill that lack, then maybe you may be bringing up a problem that they don't know exists and that you can help them fill their life. So what I'm saying is, be there to love them, to figure out whatever the problem is, even if they can't figure out what the problem is. And then you can, through your love message, get them to trust you, believe you, like you, and buy from you over and over again.
Okay, cool. Now, just so people kind of get the magnitude of what it is you do and how you do it, why should someone listen to you? I mean, who is Mike Hill? How did you stumble across all of this stuff that you're doing? Maybe a couple of examples of you don't necessarily need to name the client unless you want, because I know you keep a lot of your clients confidential. You're kind of like a stealth dude that people bring in when they need to add a few $1 million. I mean, one of my very close friends, you simply tweaked one of the ways that he was converting leads online, not just converting, but communicating to them. Right. You developed a strategy and you added $1 million a month to this guy's business. So, what are some of the things you actually do? Because I want to create some context. So when people hear you answer some of the questions I'm going to ask, they know it's coming from a guy who's been there, done that, not just some dude that has a lot of interesting philosophies about how to treat people.
Okay. Well, to begin with, I don't know how far you want me to go back, but I started on the internet in 1999. I was unemployed. I was living in a barn. I had no idea what the heck I was going to do with my life, but I knew that I enjoyed helping people.
Well, explain the living in a barn thing, because that sounds kind of weird. Like, I hear people, I was living in a trailer. I was home, but what's
I lived in the loft of a barn. I was renting the loft of a barn because I was unemployed and I could only afford so much for rent. So I was living in the loft of a barn in the mountains in the snow.
Were you married at that point yet?
No, I wasn't. No.
Okay.
At that time I was single. I was surfing the internet on AOL. At that time was a big platform for folks. AOL, CompuServe, Prodigy back in those days.
Right.
That was a while ago. So at that point in time I didn't know. The only thing I knew was that I was able to help other people to find whatever was bothering them. That was a kind of a gift, if you will, that I had. I answered an ad in the paper for an internet company to go to work as their secretary. I started out as a secretary, so a lot of people who will be listening to this who are just one-person business can appreciate that when I first started, I really felt like I was a failure. I didn't feel like I was doing the right thing. And that was because the company I was working with had me in one area of the business that wasn't for me. I was selling information products actually at that time, and that wasn't the world that I wanted to be in because it wasn't something that I knew. I couldn't sell something that I knew.
Right.
So what happened is I quickly transitioned out of that, and the owner of the company saw that I had a decent mind for understanding and wrapping my head around things. So he gave me a couple $1,000s to go play with in the ad agency space to go buy and sell banner advertising, do mass traffic generation. So we did a couple tests, and my first test was to determine how I could take the traffic that no one wanted on the internet and turn it into money.
Okay.
And that's what I did. And I took MP3 traffic at that time, which was the world's worst traffic. No one wanted it, and I turned it into a thriving business for our company. And I ended up speaking about that on stage in 2000, 2001, I think, in London, and at a friend of ours, Jonathan Meisel's conferences in Boulder, Colorado.
Right.
So I kind of got my feet wet early back in the late 90s, early 2000 area, and then I ended up leaving the company and decided to go help others. And I've been behind a lot of the largest campaigns. I can't mention names because they do like me to keep their names very, very quiet.
Right.
But I guarantee you that if you've been on the internet, you have definitely seen one of my ads. I absolutely have no shadow of a doubt saying that.
Yeah, well, you're known in the direct response internet marketing circles as, I've heard people a lot, and I even consider this from at least people I know, and I know a lot of people, as the top banner ad conversion marketing strategist in the world. And so, people, throw that around, and I don't know if you agree with that or say that's how you want people to describe you, because I know that's one small part of what you do, but It
is a small part, but for a lot of people, that's the biggest piece that's missing from their equation, so that's the easiest thing for them to grasp onto. And I do enjoy that side of the business. It is just one side of the business, but I do enjoy it. So to further answer your question, we've done the mass distribution campaigns. The gentleman you spoke of, whose business I went into, he was very hesitant, because I do charge a fair amount of money. He said, how do I know that I'm going to get anything back out of this? I said, well, you don't, because I'm not going to guarantee anything. I cannot guarantee your success because I do not know your perseverance as a business entrepreneur. Well, he took a chance, and within 1 week, he had one method in mind of how he was going to implement his business model. By the time I left, he had changed the business model entirely, and his income per customer, who he had originally anticipated at what I call day zero, which is when they check out of your shopping cart.
Right.
He originally anticipated it was going to be about $2 for his free trial or sample that he was going to send out. It turned into $60 within a matter of 5 days. So he was absolutely elated, and as you know, he's willing to admit to $1 million a month added to his bottom line. And that's not just the first time. There have been, 6 other times that I've done that.
Yeah, and you're a guy, as of right now when we're sitting here doing this interview, you've not put information out to the public,
no,
really, that people could buy. You're
no,
you're a gun for hire sort of dude. You get brought in and you're like, and your typical client would be what? Someone who's mass marketing to large groups of people. You're not someone that goes in and does a tiny little, local sort of internet campaign. Not that you don't.
Not at a local level, no. More at a national level, but you can. All of the same techniques and tactics can be applied in a niche level. I usually try and ask the customer, or my client, if you will, to bring it back just a step and ask yourself, do you really need to focus that hard on your customer? Can we broaden that reach so that we can attract more customers?
Right.
I'm of the mindset that the more people you can bring into your funnel who will start a relationship with you, the more people you can help. Even if you're sending them to other folks, there can still be profit in that handshake without that customer actually ever having to buy your product. And then to go a little bit further on the niche side, I actually have one client who sells an acid reflux report. It's just a digital download. We were able to take him from $150,000 a month to $500,000 a month with a 2-day consultation.
Yeah. So that's huge.
Yeah, it's enormous.
Yeah. So okay. So here's what I'd like to do too, and part of the reason that I ask those things is I'm going to ask you some to kind of go through your process and just pick a couple areas, because we could talk for 2 weeks based on your knowledge base. I'm going to have you kind of break down some of the psychology, and the people that are going to listen to it are going to be, I've heard that before. That makes sense, and some of it may not sound like real sophisticated, but it really is. And you've had the benefit of not only years of your own knowledge, but you literally have clients and money being exchanged that's in the tens of millions of dollars. And so you have a perspective on selling that a lot of people don't. And I'm going to ask you to kind of break this down, and I want the people listening to really pay attention and not think that, I know that, or, I'm kind of doing that, because I could almost assure...
along those lines, a lot of my clients, when I leave, they say, I already knew everything you told me. I said, I know you know that. The only difference is you didn't know how to apply it in the correct method with the correct sequence of events, or the fact that you thought, I'll test that out later. How many of us have things that we want to test out for a year or for 2 years? But until someone comes in and says, look, test this, 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 and this together, do it tomorrow, and you'll make another $1 million this month.
Right.
Then it's worth it. Then it's worth letting down those preconceived walls of, I already got that, to, wow, maybe I should actually do that. Maybe I should do it tomorrow.
Exactly. One of my favorite quotes that I say all the time is, quoted by Emerson, which is, "You ask for a new idea when you haven't used the first one that I gave you." And it's one thing when someone's really in the pursuit of knowledge, and people know a lot of stuff, but that doesn't quite mean the same as applying it or executing it, or even if you're using it, really leveraging it. And I'd say, you're a person that goes into companies and you just got an eye for where the hidden gold is. You know how to get there quicker, faster, cheaper, and speed up the whole process, right, and add a massive acceleration to it, and in many cases fix a system that they just can't seem to make work. But you go in there, and that's where the real value is, and that's the genius that I want to pull out of you today, and kind of have you identify that. Now, I want to serve a couple of purposes for our listeners. One is when you go into some of these books and they have their own language and there's a little glossary of terms that are described, well, there's a lot of terms that are thrown around in the internet marketing world, and what I have to be careful of as a direct response marketer, when I know what cost per lead is, or LVC, lifetime value of a customer, we just know that stuff because we've been doing this stuff for years, but a lot of people don't. So in the beginning, I had this little list of things that you do that I mentioned. Here's what you do. If possible, could you give just really brief, quick descriptions of what these things are, so that people, when they hear these terms in the future, they kind of, okay, that's what that is. I'm just going to ask you the list, and then I'm going to go through one of your processes and break it down, and I think we'll have provided a really awesome interview for our listeners. Okay. Banner advertising, what is that?
Banner advertising is actually usually referred to as display advertising, and it is the ad that you'll see on a website. Either it's going to be either a rectangular wide banner or a rectangular tall banner, or one of the square banners, meaning the small section of inventory that shows an ad. Usually there's animation or something along those lines, and usually there's about between 2 and 5 per website, per web page. Okay. And there are, as you know, trillions, I think, or hundreds of billions, or whatever the figure is ridiculous, of web pages out there.
Gotcha. Okay, and I'm just going to keep going through them, CPA network. What's a CPA network? A
CPA network is a cost per action network. It is a relatively new type of marketing online, where you can pay someone only when a sale is made on your website. So if you have a website and you want to pay someone $20 to get you a sale, then you would go to these cost per action companies, and you would say, I will give you $20 for every sale that comes through my website. They will then take you out to what are called affiliates, people who will promote your website for you and not make you pay until after one of your sales is generated.
Awesome. Okay. Now, this is going to sound like a really bizarre question, like page creation. You're like, okay, set up a web page. But, here's how I'd like to ask you. Everyone could say, okay, a web page. It's an electronic thing that's on the computer. It's a web page, and you do page creation. What is the purpose of a web page from your perspective? Now, there's a lot of purposes, but from a...
That's a great question.
Yeah,
no one has ever asked that before. The purpose of a web page, to me, it depends upon the mindset of the consumer at the time that they're coming through the web page. So really it depends upon the medium. I'm going to break it down as quickly as I can. Yeah. For banner advertising, the purpose of a web page is to initiate the interactive process with the customer, bottom line. If it's search, then it is to initiate the interactive process with the customer while supplying additional information.
Right, like Google.
Yeah, exactly, like Google. The customer who's in search mode is in an active mindset. They're actually looking for possibly a little more information, and then they also do want to begin the interaction process. And the same goes for email. They're both, search and email are very similar, whereas banners are a little bit different.
Right.
So really the whole underlying goal of the web page, if you will, is not to be an entire 300-page or 1,000-page website from me. For us in our business, it is a focused offering. It is an introduction to our solution and an opportunity for you to begin the interactive process.
Perfect. Like a starting point. You're playing Monopoly. Where do you start at?
Yeah.
Awesome. Offer creation. You create incredible offers, and I always love the term, as any good marketer would, an irresistible offer.
Right.
What is an offer?
Well, an offer, that's the one part where, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's the one thing that a lot of businesses will miss. They will say, oh, well, we have this guitar. We're going to sell this guitar. Well, the guitar costs $400. And they will run around like chickens with their head cut off, presenting the guitar with 27 pages of information all about the guitar, and complain that they haven't received any traffic to buy the guitar. Well, it's because they haven't realized that their offering is guitar, price point, copy. When in all actuality, you could say, hey, you know what? Another potential offer, if you will, could be, take the guitar. This is the most awesome and incredible guitar that has ever existed in the face of the planet. When you hold this guitar, women will flock to you. Men will flock to you. Whatever you want, your life will be different. Your life will be better. Try this guitar. I want you to try it out. See how it works for you. Just give me $20 today. I will ship you my guitar because I trust you that you're going to try, love, and respect this guitar. And when you find that it is everything I've told you about, then I'll go ahead and bill you the $300 for the guitar. Okay. That's the difference between two potential offers.
That first off, that's fabulous. And if anyone is paying close attention, which I hope you are, what you just described there in a couple of minutes, go back and listen to it. That is the difference between someone that really understands how to position something and how to start it and how to take something that's very complex and simply put it into a palatable manner so people can start digesting it. I mean, what you just described there was a marketing strategy that people literally, that alone can change everything. I mean, I love that. Okay, what's an upsell system? You create upsell systems. So what exactly is an upsell?
An upsell is where you give the opportunity, because we focus a lot of our business on free trial marketing.
Right.
We want to give those people who are ready and active, or what we call hyperactive buyers, an opportunity to give more. Some people will come in to a weight loss program and they'll want to just try a weight loss program out. Whereas others will come in and they'll want a personal coach. They'll want the best treadmill they can get. They want the best bands they can get. They want the best of everything. If it's possible, if they can purchase it and it will help them, they will do that. So the upsell system gives an opportunity for the hyperactive buyers to purchase more from you without having to decide initially, because of the free trial system, on what it is that they want to buy. Really, it's just an opportunity to either give the hyperactive buyers more options to purchase or to turn a buyer into a hyperactive buyer.
Okay, well, now I'm going to actually ask you to go through some of the free trial marketing that you do,
okay.
Because that's one of the things I'd like everyone to really kind of get, because this is really powerful. What difference can having the right upsell system or not have on the impact of how much money they make? Because that's kind of where you come in, and every time when you came in and did some stuff with me, you're saying, Joe, you got, this Nightingale Conant program, you got all this other stuff. Why are you just selling this one thing? I mean, are people, why wouldn't they want your other stuff? This helps them, right? It's good stuff. And of course I'm like, yeah, well, what the heck are you not telling them for? And you basically showed me how to design a system where when someone comes into my funnel and starts investing in some of my marketing tools, we just keep making them aware of, if they have this issue, they could use this tool. They have this issue, because I have a whole arsenal of things that solve people's marketing problems. But if you don't, me even being a marketer, you coming in and saying, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? So a lot of it's just the placement, understanding the timing of when to ask for it. What are some of the impacts of not having an upsell system versus putting one in place financially to people?
Boy, I'm speechless, because it's so monumental that it's beyond words. It would be like trying to open a bank with $10 and not inviting anyone else to come into your bank and give you money to run your bank. It doesn't make logical sense not to have an upsell system. The upside potential is in the millions of dollars per month.
Right.
Here's an example. In the beginning of free trial marketing and free samples, which was the incarnation for free trial marketing, at least online, you would come into a system and you would give that business $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever it is, to try the product out. 2 weeks later, 1 month later, whatever the time frame is for your trial offer, you would then bill the customer for that offer. So what that means is you're collecting $3 at what I call, again, day zero. That's just the time that your session ends on the internet. 30 days later, you see $30. Or let's say you're rebilling 30 and you keep 65% or 60% or 50%. Let's just say 50% because it's easier for numbers. You would actually see a $15 return per customer after your 30-day cycle. Well, With upsells, now that causes two problems. Number one, your customer valuation is only $15
right.
at month one. Then you have to look at your continuity, if you have a continuity program in place, on how much more the customer or the lifetime value of the customer is going to be. If you put an upsell system in place, you can receive more than you would have expected to receive by your first rebill cycle on your first day. So now you're not stressed out going, man, I've got, am I going to make my money back within 30 days? How is the cancellation rate going to affect my cash flow for my business? So the first and foremost thing is you increase the value of your customers. You increase the success ratio of your customers. You increase your cash flow for your business so that you can continue to buy more customers. And you have a better customer experience. Now, a lot of people will think, well, man, I've seen those upsells and I don't like them. Well, you may not have liked 3 of them, but I would guarantee you there was one. If you have more than one upsell, you have 3 or 4 or 5, there's one that you thought about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I took you on a detour there from the definitions, but I felt there was so much impact and there's so much juice financially in people's upsells that I wanted you to actually talk about it.
It is a multi-billion-dollar setup.
Yeah, and it's a multi-billion-dollar loss for all the people that simply aren't even using it and have all kinds of great products and services, and sometimes just not so great products and services that don't leverage them and exploit them because they simply don't know how.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. And let's just make one quick example. A lot of us look at those ads on TV and we think to ourselves, how in the heck can they sell that chopper or that salad shooter, whatever it is, for only $9?
Exactly.
How can they only do it for $9? It's not a trial. It's $9. I get 2 of them for $9. How can they do that? Call in. You'll find out, because they're going to upsell you, because they have figured out that with the upsells in place through their call center, which can be applied online, can be applied offline, however you want it, can be applied through direct mail, they can make a lot more than just that $9. They'll lose money in the front end because they'll make 300 times that, or 300% increase on the back end.
Yeah, exactly. I've been doing interviews on infomercials with Dean Graziosi, and basically what people don't understand is the infomercial business literally cannot exist without upsells. The media cost and everything is too high. If you don't have anything else to offer people, you're gonna go broke. And most infomercial products are sold as a negative on the front end, meaning it costs more money to make the $39 sale or the $24.95 sale or the $100 sale, whatever it is, simply because the cost of marketing. And if you don't have the upsell, many businesses simply wouldn't even work. And so a lot of people really need to pay attention to what's going on, and are you doing it, and how does it apply to your particular business? Okay, so continuity programs. What's a continuity program?
A continuity program is where some people will miss the boat in their free trial to upsell process, is that they won't put the customer into some sort of reoccurring subscription charge. So if it's a good example of a continuity program would be a magazine membership. You decide to purchase a magazine membership. You pay there's so much per month. Maybe it's $1.99 per month, billed quarterly, whatever that example is.
Genius Network.
Genius Network, exactly.
Yeah.
So every month you've got your Genius Network folks paying you for more services. Now, I'm sure that the people who are in your Genius Network are very appreciative of the value that they're getting, and they're very happy to give you that money every single month. Now, imagine if you had not offered that to them at some point in time, and you just had sold one interview for $49, or one interview for $199 or $299, whatever the price point may be, and you didn't offer them the option of continuing to buy these Genius interviews. You would have lost out on an incredible amount of money, and worse, your customers would have lost out on a bunch of information that they needed and wanted.
What you just said is crucial, too, because people see, the way I look at it is you're either in the transaction business or a relationship business.
Right.
And if you are really selling something that first people want, they desire, it helps them, they like it, whatever it is. Some products are simply there to entertain people. Others, are enormously important and valuable to their life. If you have something that serves your clientele, whatever that value is to them, why wouldn't you build it into a continuity program?
Exactly. Well, the only reason why you may not is because you're dealing with what you perceive as a potentially immoral use of marketing information. When I would challenge you to ask yourself, are you doing your customer a favor by not helping them with the most information that you have possible? I mean, I personally struggled with that for a little while in the beginning. I'm like, man, should we really be doing this? Because, I mean, won't the customers get upset? And then I realized when I started looking at our success ratios, the people that took the upsells had the greatest success.
Absolutely.
So I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing here? I am hurting my customer with my own psyche. That's horrible. So we just instantly started implementing 3 to 5 upsells through our paths on all of our clients.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so that's customer retention. What does that mean?
Customer retention means the ability to keep a customer in your program and in your system as long as is humanly possible, by building, again, on the love, trust, and respect aspects of the business. And, of course, also with the tangible factors as well. You know, perfect example is we had, this is like, your genius guys are going to get something really special. We just, 3 days ago, I just got this information back from one of my clients. I had them implement a retention strategy to keep customers in the loop. Well, my theory is that customers cancel not because they want their money back. I believe customers cancel because they want some love back, or they want to, if it's really truly a monetary thing, they don't want to completely cancel if they like your product. They just want some sort of give and take. They need to feel some movement happening from your side to show how much you care about them. So what we've done is in one of our we've implemented quite a few different strategies, but the most recent one that will help people with online businesses especially is when a customer emailed to cancel, they would send them back a quick email saying log into your account and cancel online, rather than just canceling it, which is what I guarantee you a high number of people do. When the email comes through, they just cancel it for the customer. Spend the money, build the technology, make the customer log in and cancel themselves. When that customer logs in to cancel, they're presented with 3 options. Number 1, cancel your subscription and forego the gift that you will be receiving next month, which is whatever. In this case, it was one more of what they had already purchased, loved, and appreciated. Or drop your order to half volume. So maybe it is a monetary thing. Maybe they can't afford, a widget every single month. Maybe they want a widget every other month.
Right.
Fantastic. Take it every other month. Or option number 3, cancel your auto shipment, lose your VIP status, and go ahead and just part ways for now, if you will. Come back at your own discretion. 65% of people stayed. Who originally were going to cancel stayed.
Wow.
That's of people who started the cancellation process. That does not count the number of people who sent in the initial email that didn't log in and click the cancel button.
So that represents, in many cases, millions of dollars.
Yes. Yeah. Ridiculous. It's kind of absurd.
Yeah. You know what? It's simply, I would say simply. I mean, from an understanding standpoint, it's about bonding. And when you lose the bond with your clients, so part of when you say, they just need a little bit more love, I'm like, okay, you've lost the bond. You've lost the connection. It's kind of like, you got on a fantastic date with somebody and, you don't call them for 6 months. The chances of that, it's not going to be as great as if you just stay in the
contact.
That's
a great analogy.
Call center scripting. You do a lot of that stuff. What does that mean?
Well, before I had started on the internet, I ran a call center for 3 years, and we were, by implementing a lot of the strategies from multi-level marketing networks, we were able to increase sales for the call center that I was running by over 500%, simply by revising scripting, by helping agents, and ensuring that the customers did feel the love, again, with the love thing. So really what that means is a lot of call centers, if you have a call center, if you're looking at working with a call center, a lot of call centers...
Well, let's define a call center, then continue with the scripting.
Sure. A call center would be any place, room. It could be a room in your house. It could be an office. It could be an outsourced company where incoming phone calls or outbound phone calls will be made by a series of 1 to 100 customer service agents that will be there to answer the phones for your customers when your customers are contacting you. Is that a fair enough description?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Does it limit to 100? They have to be 100?
No. There are big call centers.
Oh yeah, one of our good friends in our coaching group runs one of the top call centers in the country. Just hundreds of people, and they've even got Entrepreneur of the Year award because there's a lot of call centers that don't have a really great reputation. Yeah,
you're running your call center with integrity and ethics. That was actually the next thing I was going to talk about. The biggest problem that happens with a call center is the call center agent will feel unethical in their business practices that they're doing if you haven't properly explained to them, or number one, you're doing something unethical, and if you're doing that, then freaking stop already. If you are doing things ethical and your customers still feel uneasy, or not customers, excuse me, your call center representatives still feel uneasy, most likely it's because of their own internal dialogue. The same internal dialogue that stopped me from having upsells in the beginning is the same internal dialogue that's going to stop them from helping the customer keep the product. So what I attempt to do in a lot of our scripting is instruct the call center agents that when they give a refund, they are hurting the customer. When they tell that customer, oh, I'm so sorry, let me give you your money back right away, that's nothing but saying, hey, you know what? I appreciate your quitting. I think you should quit. And that's wrong. I mean, our job is to help the customer. That's why we're here. That's why we built our businesses. That's why we create our products. Are we going to give up on that customer because they are choosing to give up on themselves? That's not right. If it was a fitness trainer, there would be no fitness trainers because a lot of marketers just say, oh, okay, great, here's your stuff back. If you're in a fitness trainer, you're like, oh, you don't want to do the extra push-up? Okay, no problem. Don't worry about it. Don't do it.
Right.
What kind of marketer would you be if you operated or what kind of fitness trainer would you be if you operated like a standard marketer? So what we do is we take those same principles, we apply them at the call center side, we write specific scripts, we hold specific meetings every single day to help teach the call center agents what they're doing is helping people. Because you have to remember, a lot of times call center agents will be beaten up day after day because they're hearing the inbound complaining customers. Well, because why? Well, you have to give your customers, your call center agent, some sort of reason why. Why is that customer yelling at you? Nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with their product. If that customer were truly happy in their lives, they would just be calling you and saying, hey, you know what? It's just not working. I'm sorry. But they're not doing that. They're upset. Something else is happening in life. So we give the customer service agents the defense mechanisms to say, look, this isn't about me. This is about something else that's happening in their life. So they can step up to the plate and close the customer on staying in the system and close the customer on fixing the problem that I had.
Gotcha. That's great.
I know it's a little long-winded, but sorry.
No. Very good. Okay, well, Save a Sale campaign. I mean, you are an expert in saving a sale campaign because very much the same psychology. If someone buys a weight loss product or a course on making money or whatever, and they want a refund or return it, in most cases they assuming, and I'm going to make the assumption that everything is above board, they're not using it, they've not got engaged with it, they're not implementing it, they want to refund it, and so the job is saying, well, really, you wanted the result, you wouldn't have bought this and invested in it if you didn't want the benefit that you were hoping would come from it, and you attempt to get the person re-engaged. What is Save a Sale?
I mentioned one of the Save a Sale campaigns just a moment ago. I probably got a little ahead of myself. Where we're doing it online to save that customer sale. The second, another option or implementation, I should say, that we've used for Save a Sale for call center specifically is our rural customer refund. I created this I think it's been about 2 years ago now. Mm-hmm. I created maybe 3 years now, the rural customer refund. When a customer calls in to cancel, as we mentioned, there's a lot of other reasons why they're canceling, most of which are not the fact that your product didn't work for them. They want to keep it. They really, really, really want to keep it. They just believe that they need some new motivation, So what we do is, for the rural customer refund, is we have the agents tell the call center, or the call center agents tell the customer, hey, okay, we immediately break down the walls, and we say, look, great, I'm processing your refund for you right now. You cannot challenge the customer. If you're going to try and do a Save a Sale or one of the other things to re-engage the customer, the first thing you have to do is break down those defensive barriers that the customers put up before they telephoned you. Because I guarantee you, before the customer picks up the phone, they're expecting a fight. So the first thing we do is break down the walls and let them win the fight. We say, okay, great, your refund's been processed, or it's being processed now. Go ahead and here's the RMA number. Do you have a pen? We have to give us the return merchandise authorization number. Here's the address we want to ship the product back to, so we can process your immediate refund. Or if you like, I do have another option here. I do have my rural customer refund. If it's hard for you to get to the post office, you don't think you'll have the time, I can refund you half of your money right now, and you just keep it. Just keep the product. But do us a favor. Tell somebody about it. When you try it and you really give it a chance, because most likely you probably haven't. Otherwise, you wouldn't be calling me, because I hear so many people every day who are happy with the product. Just tell somebody else about it. Or call me up when you need more, and I'll probably be able to still arrange that half price for you. Just call me personally. My name is blah, 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 blah. And an alarming amount of customers will keep that. Traditionally speaking, you implement a refund policy like that, there's a couple of things you can do, but, that one right there, that simple thing alone, saved one of the consultations that I did about $450,000 a month he saved just by implementing that one simple procedure.
Yeah, and there's many different strategies.
So many.
Just one. Yeah,
that's just one. I mean, there's many things you can do to add to that will actually bring that number even higher, but we'll save some of those for later.
No, that's great. Okay, merchant relations.
Wow, merchant relations. That's a real biggie, because when you have a $10,000 or $20,000 a month business, we all hear the stories of the $1 million clients, the $1 million businesses, and you're like, wow, how do I go from $20,000 to $1 million? Well, you go there very slowly, you go there very cautiously, and you go there with the intent and plan to make $1 million a month. You cannot have that plan without planning first for someone to accept that $1 million per month, or that $2 million, or whatever your figure is. I mean, $1 million a month isn't uncommon at all. Most of my clients make over $1 million a month. If you don't have the proper merchant relationships in place, what will happen is your merchant will see you have a spike from, say, let's say you implement all the things that I teach, and you go from, 100 orders a day or 50 orders a day, whatever your number is, to 400. I guarantee you will be getting a phone call from your merchant account in short order asking you what in the heck it is that you're doing. What are you doing that you can go from, $10,000 a day to $100,000 a day, or whatever your jump is? That's gonna scare the crap out of them. They are going to be very, very afraid of the potential backlash in refunds and chargebacks, because really they're the ones left holding the bag, and they're only playing a 1 to 3% game anyhow. So their income is 1 to 3%. It now becomes very risky for them to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let you go to that $1 million because you didn't call me. You didn't tell me what you're doing. I have no idea how you're marketing. I don't know what it is that you're doing. And I don't know how your marketing plan is. Who are you working with a proven track record to prove that you're not going to blow this up in your face? Because I'll tell you what, a lot of businesses blow this up in their face without realizing, oh, wow, sure, I scaled from 100 to 400 orders a day. But, oh my gosh, my whole times for my call center went from 30 seconds to 10 minutes. 30-second to 10-minute hold time means two things. Number one, you're going to have a bunch of pissed off customers. And number two, you're going to have a bunch of chargebacks. You break that 1% threshold, you can break it a little bit without too much backlash if you're in the lower volume. But at high volume, you break that 1% threshold at $1 million a month level, they'll shut your account down. And then what are you going to do? You've got an account that's shut down. You got a bunch of payables going out to your affiliates that have already driven the traffic for you on a cost per action basis, and now you have no money. Yep. So, merchant relations, big problem. And,
huge.
Yeah, and a big, not really a big problem. They're a big problem if you don't look at them with a focused lens.
But it's also an opportunity because people can, the lesson here is that, for one, know what it is.
Yeah.
Secondly, make sure you're in constant contact with all of your vendors and your clients, because you got to treat everyone you work with, your employees, your vendors, and with care and concern and nurture them. And third, you can grow too fast. If you don't have your ducks in a row, you can, most people would pray for the situation of having so much business they don't know what to do with it. But the fact is, it can happen when someone utilizes what it is we're talking about here.
Every single client in the beginning of my career had the exact same mentality, which is I can handle anything you can throw at me. And that led them to failure for the first few years that I did this, because I'm like, no, really, we can grow your business to insane amounts. But then we started implementing procedures and policies to ensure that we would not let them grow too fast. Yeah. And we literally limited traffic. Our mutual friend, we literally limited traffic every single day. He's like, well, give me more. No, that's okay. you're going to grow nice and slow so that you have a long-term business.
Awesome. Well, I'm just going to ask you a couple more things to define, and then we'll break down one of your marketing strategies.
Okay.
It's really about asking you about to define advanced tracking, but really define tracking first, then you can talk about advanced tracking.
Sure. I take a little deep breath there because it's such a big subject. Tracking is the ability to understand every single step of your process. How many people viewed your message, whether it's through search, through email, through cost per click, through banner advertising, anything. Whatever it is however you're delivering your message, you need a complete system or reporting system to be able to track from the time the customer sees the message, to the time they click, to the time they're on your first page of your process, the second page, the third page, your checkout, your cart, your abandoned cart, your upsell 1 through upsell 5, your thank you page. You need to be able to know how many times, where the customer's falling out of your funnel, and then almost more importantly, how much is each one of those steps worth to you? Which one do you need to focus on the most? And then you can, once you have all of your tracking points, I have on one of my key performance indicators, I'll give it to you for your people. You can have it, give it to them. It's all the 58 things I like to track, why I like to track them, and then the first set of reports. It's not the end-all be-all. There'll be more stuff that comes up, but it's at least a good starting point for your guys. Okay, well,
on the electronic version of this interview on Genius Network, we'll make that available as a downloadable or something if it can be delivered that way.
Yeah, it's a PDF file.
Okay, cool.
So then really what you want to do is look at those 58 points and then ask yourself, okay, what reporting criteria do I want to see against those 58 points? So let's just use the call center as an example. If I have this report and it shows me my value for all these customers and it shows me, the page flow, those are the first 10 points. There's another, 48 points after that. What was the call center agent? What was the offer ID? What was the copy ID? All of these things will help you to establish your graphs. Because you're going to look at your graphs and you're going to ask yourself, okay, where are my chargebacks coming from? Where are my refunds coming from? Where's my loss? Where's my biggest loss? Because one of the things that I really strongly believe in is that it's cheaper. I used to write this on my papers and on my computer. It's cheaper to keep me than it is to find me. It's much cheaper to keep your customer than it is to go get a new one.
That's
where a lot of people lose it. We're all so busy looking for those new customers we don't realize, Jesus, if you just spent a couple, they're like, the biggest thing I hear is, I can't afford another $3 per customer to keep them. You're kidding me, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, is that I'm not going to spend $3 more to keep the guy who I already have in my platform, but I'll spend another $30 to get a new guy in my platform.
Right.
And that's
that doesn't even have a relationship with you yet. Well, even take my professional cleaners.
Right.
We have a monthly newsletter. We have a direct response newsletter we create for them. They send it out monthly. And the current rate of postage and printing and stuff, we're talking $1 a month is expensive, to just get this thing out. You can do it for less than $1 a month. So you're talking about $12 a year. And I've showed like carpet cleaners that if your gross profit on a job, let's say, is $100, you could mail a newsletter to your clients every single month for 12 years. Before it becomes unprofitable.
Yeah.
If you're in the $100 to $130 a month range, which is a small job. That's below average. And so people, they're like, it's ridiculous how much money is wasted, how many relationships are lost simply because people don't even track it. Because this really is, whatever business you're in, you're in the arithmetic business.
Absolutely.
And when you do the tracking, the numbers show you the leverage points.
You're 100% right. All of this stuff that we're talking about does not necessarily have to apply online. You can build all of this offline.
Oh, yeah. Well, the reason I brought that example up is that it's even that much more simple for a person online to do this stuff, because you take a professional cleaner, which was providing a service, and then mailing a real letter. And not that I don't have them doing email also, which
right.
we do. But the point is that this is like literally a manual labor sort of thing, but the arithmetic still make it work. And so there's this seduction that people have with it's so much sexier to chase a new customer than it is to keep an existing one. But when you track, why to do it and how to do it.
Exactly.
So I'm sorry, I just need
No, you're 100% correct, Joe. I mean, as always, your marketing brain is genius. I'm like sitting here going, man, we really need to work together on more stuff.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad we're doing this too, because also one of the things that I want to do with this interview is to give people a real life example of what it is you're talking about, because this sort of discussion, and really what Genius Network represents to me, is these are not interviews. These are downloading wisdom and pulling diamonds out of someone's brain and sharing them with everyone that's listening right now. And so I'm going to take every element that we've talked about here, and some of them we're doing on the campaigns you've helped me with and that are going on right now, but I'm also going to design a new campaign around Genius Network. I don't even know what the site will be called, but people can find it through geniusnetwork.com. But I'm going to do everything here so people that are already subscribers can actually see my selling system utilizing Mike Hill's genius and how we do this. And then people not only are hearing us talk about it, but they'll be able to see a real living example of all of this stuff in action. Mass traffic generation. I mean, you really work on a big scale. So what is mass traffic generation versus just traffic generation?
Well, traffic generation is what you do to send traffic to your own website, you as an individual, you know. And that's, I think, where a lot of folks, again, get stuck, is they're in the business of running their business, and they're also in the business of becoming a traffic generator, which is not really the smartest thing to do. And the smartest thing to do would be to focus the core of your business to be the best that it can be and let someone else deal with the traffic business. So that's really what the other arm of my company does, is they deliver mass traffic through all of the mediums. Because I've been doing this for so darn long now, we pretty much know anybody who's got a super brain, you know. I mean, there's only so many people at the top of the ladder, if you will, and we're lucky enough to be able to shake their hand and say, hey, you know what? You, like a good friend of ours, just launched his pay-per-click search engine strategies, where he shows people how he makes between $50,000 and $100,000 in profit a day. Right. That's like one of my best friends. I just call him up and I say, dude, here's another campaign, run that one. So when you tap into guys like me or guys like him, where you can say, you know, hey, can you help me get this figured out? Then we can hand it out to all of our friends who are at the top of the ladder for traffic generation and get. You can't believe how much traffic. It's actually kind of crazy. I mean, we were doing, for just one of our mutual friends campaign, we were pushing 20 million banner impressions a day. Right. I mean, that's a lot of people. 20 million people? Is there that many people in California?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. But there's that's like the population in New York or something like that, I think.
It's pretty crazy. It's a lot of people. I mean, and that's just banners. Right. That doesn't have it. That's not pay-per-click search engines. That's not the CPA networks. That's not any co-rich marketing. That's not any CPA. What they call it, one-page marketing. Right. I mean, that was one entity. Exactly. Or one display channel. And we weren't even completely tapping it out. The guy was at his max for how many orders he could take a day.
Yeah, so the point is, we're talking mass traffic is available if you know, if you have the relationships, if you know who can get to those relationships. And see, that also is what I love about Genius Network. It's Genius Network is more than just ideas. It's about literally connecting the networks, and the top people on the food chain in any industry. The industry players know the other players. They know where to go, and that's fabulous. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, and again, I want to warn our listeners that don't think you're already doing this, because I guarantee that I'm going to ask Mike some things that from an experienced marketer standpoint may sound simplistic, but this is absolute brilliant the way that you have put it together, and it's different. Well, when a lot of people in the marketing world, including myself, use a lot of long sales copy, which none of us are opposed to. It's just a time and a place for it. You've actually figured out how to make risk-free trials work like gangbusters. So I'm going to just talk to you about one little area of immense knowledge and experience that you have, which is free trial marketing. And so first, if you could just define what is a risk-free trial and why use them. So let's start with defining what is an RFT.
Okay, sure. Risk-free trial or risk-free trial marketing is where we talked earlier about that guitar. Right. It's where we give the people the option of trying our product or service out for a specified amount of time without paying anything more than either a simple shipping and processing charge or nothing at all, depending upon how low you want to put your barrier to entry. And then after a certain time elapses, at that point in time, the customer is charged for the product they have tried, and they're put on a continuity program if a continuity program is included in the free trial model.
Gotcha. Okay, well, now, why would someone use a risk-free trial?
As an advertiser or publisher?
Both.
Okay, as an advertiser, you would want to use a risk-free trial because that's what the publishers want, meaning the affiliates are going to be promoting your offer. They already understand and know that they're going to make more money promoting a free trial offer than they will what's called the OTO in the info marketing space, a one-time offer. They know that rather than, if you try and sell a product at $100, you're going to get, let's just say this is a general interest pools of traffic, not a specified list where you're cross-promoting each other's product, but to a general list of internet traffic. If you sell a $100 product, you may get a 0.5% conversion ratio, 0.25%. Click to customer. Someone who sees your offer, clicks on the ad, and then becomes a customer. Maybe 0.5% of the 100 people who come will become a customer, so 1 in 200. If you create that offer as a free trial, you'll get probably 2 to 7%. So you're going to see a 400% increase up to possible, 1,000+% increase in conversion ratio to your product. So now you have to ask yourself, why is it that why would I ever consider selling the $100 item up front at first when I can drive so many more people into my process to buy my product or to try my product for free, when even if half of them cancel, I still have more customers, I still have more money. And
yeah, because you've made the barrier to entry so much more appealing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so, I'm keeping it really layman because I want
me too.
people
I'm trying to.
No, and you are. And that's why I'm like, I know why. Heck, one of, again, going back to a carpet cleaning example, people say, well, what am I going to learn about marketing, from you? I'm like, well, if we can successfully teach people that sell a service that nobody wants to buy, how to successfully do it, you could probably use these same sort of techniques. And one of my very first strategies before I ever became an advisor, an information marketer, what I do today, was I came up with an irresistible offer of a free room of carpet cleaning. And to this day, we're talking since 1992 was when I first tried owning a when I was an owner of a carpet cleaning company, when I first tried to come up with what is the best offer, I offered a free room of carpet cleaning up to 200 square feet along with this process I invented called a carpet audit. And to this day,
I've seen that everywhere.
Oh, yeah. No, it's all over the world. We have people, it's all over the world. Russia, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Spain. We've got cleaners all over the U.S. and Canada, of course. But that is the most effective offer on the planet for selling quality carpet cleaning services by giving someone an opportunity to try for free. And the reason why it works, and this has been tested against price offers, price discounting, package bonus things, bottles of spotter, all these things that a carpet cleaner could offer, but the risk-free trial just absolutely beats it. So you've just taken this into a format, and all the little steps in how to, the timing of when to offer it, how to piece it all together. So instead of me talking here, let me ask you, continue on here.
Sure.
What about samples? Let's kind of create a scenario here for our listeners of what the guitar, of course. What about samples? What's the difference between
the guitar would be probably a bad example for the sample.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. What would be like an example of a sample?
Well, an example of a sample would be, let's say you had a nutraceutical, or you had an information product.
Is that a fancy word for a nutrition supplement?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. I'm just asking. Hey, look.
A supplement is nutraceutical.
No, I understand nutrition supplements. Yeah.
Okay, so if you had one of those and you were going to... Give me bad time. If they had one of those and they were... they say... Okay, here's a perfect example. You have let's use diet one because I think 65% of the nation's overweight. So this is one that a lot of people will be able to relate to. Diet product, yeah. If you have a diet product, you wanted to get customers and you wanted to offer them a sample, right? There are some extreme downsides. This is why you don't see a lot of samples anymore. Is number one, that was what one of the gentlemen that I've done a consultation for in the past, that was the initial thought process, was to send out a sample and then to send more product after the sample has gone away.
Right.
The biggest problem with that is that most people will never open up the sample. They'll never try it. How many times have you really taken shampoo and soap from a hotel room?
Me, really?
Not just you. I mean, just people in general. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's done it at least once.
Oh,
probably.
absolutely.
I know I've done it.
Yeah, no, I've done it. I mean, I was sitting there trying to think, should I give him a funny answer? I mean, certainly I've done it, but I really don't do it anymore, but I've done it in the past. But if I stay at the Four Seasons or something, or I stay at what I consider just a really cool hotel, or I go to Maryville Spa or something, I usually will, take a couple of the samples there. But for the most part,
yeah,
it depends.
But then when you get home, most people, again, and speaking in generalities, because as a marketer, we live in the generalities world. We don't, we don't live for the exceptions, if you will.
Right.
Most people will never use them. They will take those samples home, and they will sit under the sink until there is a pile of them.
You are absolutely right.
And then they will zip them up, and hopefully they'll donate them to the local homeless shelter.
Yeah, or leave them out for your stupid friends that are going to come and freeload at your house.
Yeah, exactly, that too, or the stupid friends. But we don't use samples. We've been conditioned to take them because they're free. But in actuality, they have zero perceived value in our mind. Even though at the time that we're getting them, we perceive a value to them at that moment, the moment that transaction is complete, the value is gone.
Right.
So by selling a sample or offering a sample, you are detracting from the real core mission of presenting your product, which is creating a customer. You don't create a customer through samples. You create a sample trier.
That's
so
interesting.
For a free trial, we're not creating a sample customer. We're saying, hey, look, and you have to disclose this in your terms and conditions. You try it. Try it for free. We want you to try the product so we can show you how effective it is. When you like it, of course you have to pay for it. But try it first.
And that's such a huge distinction from a sample.
Right.
But see, that's where people need to really listen to what it is you're saying, because a lot of people are like, well, we're already doing that. Well, really, are you doing that? Is what you're offering a sample, or is it an actual trial?
Right.
Going back to my free room of carpet cleaning, it's a real room. It's not like a little patch.
No.
You're giving someone a free room. They're getting to see the goods.
Yeah, you didn't come in to clean a rug. You came in to clean a room.
Exactly.
See, here's the difference. I mean, if you want to apply it that way, someone can say, well, we're doing a trial also in the carpet cleaning space because we're going to do one of the rugs. Well, no. Psychologically, that's different. I can throw my rug outside. You can go clean my rug, but that's not my room. Once you start on my room, you began cleaning my home versus my carpet or my chair. I mean, I could be off base here. I mean, I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. No, you are absolutely right. And that is, and what's funny is when I even created that offer, and I didn't think I'd be talking about carpet cleaning marketing here.
It's all the same,
No, it really is that I had actually purchased some equipment, and one of the recommended ways of selling this particular service was you tape off a square in the middle of a commercial establishment, like in a heavily trafficked area, or you go into someone's home and you take like a 4x4 or 2x2 square, right, and you leave a nice clean square in the middle of the room. But to me, I was like, oh well, for one, that's almost like you're forcing someone.
Yeah, you'd be the jerk.
Yeah. I mean, it clearly shows the difference between clean and not clean, but it's like that kind of leaves someone in a. I just didn't feel that was the best approach.
Right.
And that would be kind of like a sample where you're kind of forcing them to have to do something, and if they don't like your company, they can call someone else and be stuck with a clean square. But I thought a real free room, not only does that give them a real trial and an experience, but it also establishes it's just such a non-threatening great offer, and it comes with a 100% money back guarantee. So I know the way that you construct your free trials, they will typically have that attached to it.
Yeah,
so
all of them. You always give them the option of getting their money back. Never, ever let the customer feel like they're obligated. When you feel obligated, you're going to fight that with every ounce of your soul. That's when you start having problems.
Well, I'm going to quickly go through this then, because we've given stuff.
We've got a lot of.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've given stuff here that anyone could take this and literally make. I mean, even if we stopped right at this moment.
Just the refund policy alone, I've never given that to anyone publicly, I don't think. That right there, I mean, my goodness.
It's golden. It's good stuff. Well, now, in the free trial, do you get crap customers? And when I say crap customers, I mean just people that are, just trying to abuse you. And
no, I mean, the quality of the customer does not directly correlate to the trial offer or the trial entity. It correlates to the copy that you use. If you use the wrong copy, yes, you can attract the wrong customer. If you use the word free 700 times, you're anchoring free in the customer's mind. If you use the word free 3 or 4 times, this is a completely different message. It depends upon what terminology you're using, which copy you're writing, and how your offer is constructed so that you're not anchoring into the customer that this is a free experience. You're anchoring into the customer this is a trial experience.
That's great. That's great. Now, what about a term that I hear you say a lot, which is mini commitments? Explain a mini commitment.
Sure. In a free trial, one of the primary reasons why I love free trials is because you help to guide your customer through mini and micro commitments, essentially. So really what that means is, I remember I mentioned the web page is to begin interaction,
right.
Start the interactive process. When a customer clicks on my banner and they land on my website, the first thing they're going to see is a survey. In most cases. In some cases, they may see their address, but I'm still in the banner space. At least I lean heavily towards the survey first. If it's an email offer, then we can go to the address next or whatnot. But the point being, I want them to make many decisions. The first decision is not going to be to give me personally identifiable information usually. The first decision is going to be to make the micro commitment to interact with me.
Gotcha.
Give me some information so I can see if maybe I can help you. Am I the right person for you? I don't know. Complete my survey and let me help you find out. Then the next micro commitment is, fantastic, I believe that I can help you. Give me your information and I will send you my product. And that's without the credit card statement usually, or without the credit card being on the page usually. I mean, you can go a couple ways with it. If we have time, I'll explain them. If not, we'll have to.
Well, no, let's do it, because I just want people to kind of get the grasp of this, and the best way that they can experience this, of course, is start building it and doing what it is we're talking about. The second thing is look at one of your sites, which I'll actually ask you to give out a site where people can see, and then they can also, we're going to have this with Genius Network too. So
right, I'll give you one that you can add in later. I'll let you. I'll put something up where you can see kind of an example on free trial marketing.
Okay, so for the listeners, and this is normally not. I
don't do this.
Yeah, what we'll do is we don't have like this as I'm sitting here talking, I'm thinking, God, how valuable it would be for people just to actually see this. So we'll give you a couple of sites that I'll have literally added on to the end. It won't be part of this initial interview here.
Right.
So that'll require you to just go to them. So let's just keep kind of going through and defining these things. Now, you talk about preferred pages. What is that?
Preferred pages means basically that you would want a 2-page process, meaning first page will contain the shipping information, second page will contain the credit card information. That was the preferred page process for email advertising and CPA networks. If you're doing banner advertising, then that first page that I mentioned, which is called the 3-page process, we'll conduct a short survey, then collect shipping information and credit card information. If you're going to do a 2-page banner version, or a 3-page banner version is survey information, shipping information on the second page, and then credit card information on the third page, and then subsequent upsells after that.
It's kind of like a marriage in a lot of ways, isn't it? I mean, you're going on a certain amount of dates, you're building rapport, but you're speeding up this relationship process, but it's just asking for things.
Exactly. And it all depends on how hot and heavy you are before you get married. I mean, people go to Vegas, they get extremely hot and heavy, and they get married overnight.
Right.
I would say that doesn't happen a lot on the internet. You need to do a little bit of courting first, and the amount of courting depends upon where that customer comes from, more than anything else.
And you know what? You're a stepping stone mind in terms of you really think through, okay, what's going on in this person's head? Because what I've seen you do with marketers, even with me, is saying, okay, why are you asking for this information right now? Is that really the right time? And you just really help people understand the stepping stones and how to place them in the right ways and when to pop the question, okay, now's the time to actually give me money, but if they're not have enough desire and built up in advance, you need to do that first, and that could be in the form of the copy, the video, the audio, whatever is the element there.
Right. And along the same line, just one really fast thing. A lot of folks will put too much weight into asking someone for their address. People will give you their address. They don't care that much about the address. You just have to justify that decision first. So if you conduct a survey, this is one of the reasons why I like surveys, it starts that micro-commitment process. If you conduct a survey in the beginning, then on the next page, you say, give me your address. You don't need 4 scrolling pages of copy to ask for the address. You just say, give me your address. And they'll give it to you. Because you're not asking for a social security number. Hopefully you're not asking, maybe you're asking for a telephone number, but you don't need a lot of information to get a customer to give you information if they've already made that first micro commitment to start the interactive process.
Right, that's great. And you know what? I'm so half tempted just to like almost play a trick on my clients and see how much they're, meaning our listeners here, on how much they're paying attention. But you just very quickly said, the importance of a survey sort of thing. Now that's huge, because you know how to engage people into. You're a master of Socratic selling, with probably maybe not even being aware of just how much you know about Socratic selling.
Probably
instead
not.
No, but seriously, but most marketing is very monologue. It's not dialogue, and your process really is dialogue. I mean,
customers don't want to have or be involved in a monologue with you. They want to be in a dialogue. They want to be heard.
Yeah. So I just want people listening. Okay, do you have that? And if you don't have that going on in your sites and through your whole process, then think about it. That's what this is all about. Okay, so out of all the different things you can do, what's the most important factor of this process of the free trial marketing? What's the most important factor?
Most important factor would be, depending upon the medium, would probably be including video in your process, with the secondary factor being, the exact tie being to ensure that you have love in your message.
Okay, well, anything else you want to say? We talked about it earlier, mentioned love a lot, and anything else you'd want to say about having love in your message?
Yeah, that's it. You just cannot fake it. You cannot fake love. If you think you can fake it, if you don't truly love your customer, hire someone else who loves your customer. Go to your local restaurant, find someone who is really passionate, and find yourself a server that truly feels love. If you don't consider yourself empathic, then you're not the right person to be writing your copy, probably.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I'm just going to ask you a couple more things about this, because I think we've just laid out a strategy here that gives people plenty to work with and make a lot of money with. Now, we've talked about upsells, but in this process, you've offered a free trial. How important are upsells?
They are everything. If you can only do one, then just do one. Even if it's the same one twice. And a lot of our upsells are the exact same offer. A lot of people think, I don't have anything else that I can sell. We don't have to sell anything else. You can sell the exact same thing after they bought it once. Once I've made the commitment to purchase your, widget or the guitar. Here's a good example again. Let's use the guitar. There's a guitar sitting in the room here with us. If you tried the guitar, you paid the $14.95 shipping, there's a high likelihood that you'll be able to get some people to just pay for the guitar right up front on that first upsell page. I'll tell you what, pay for the guitar now. I know you like the guitar. You've seen the value of the guitar. You know that the guitar is going to change your life. It's going to bring you happiness and joy. It's going to make you the envy of all your friends. I'll tell you what, if you decide to buy the guitar right now, I'm going to go ahead and throw in a guitar lesson DVD for you.
That's great.
Just pay for the guitar up front today. I'll throw in the guitar lesson DVD for you, and just make your decision in the next 5 minutes. Click the Upgrade My Order button down below. Don't make me put my credit card information in again. Keep that in the back end. Just click my Upgrade button and move me to the next page of the process. If they say no, offer them it again. Okay, great. I understand. Maybe you need a little more convincing about the guitar. You need some time with the guitar. That's okay. Go ahead and take all the time you want. I'm just going to go ahead and give you this one-time option to get the DVD on the lessons, and maybe this pick signed by Santana himself. Get the Santana pick and the DVD lessons for $39.
Yep, exactly.
So it doesn't have to be rocket science. It just has to be something.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, I've even got my professional cleaners, basically offering no-brainer programs, continuity programs.
Great.
Everything from additional cleaning services to, you name it. All you need to do is be creative. And of course, the last thing I'll ask about this is a continuity program. If there's any way that you can take your product, your service, and give it to them on a regular basis, that you will charge their credit card monthly or however often you want to deliver it to them, how important to this free trial offer is a continuity business? Because I believe most of your clients, if not all of them, not only are doing upsells, but they're also doing continuity attached to the free trial offer.
All of them but one, and I have told him time and time again that will take him from $500,000 to $1 million. He was at $150,000 before, it's up to $500,000 now. He hasn't added it in yet. He's the only one so far that hasn't added it in.
This person should be beaten.
I should beat him with a stick.
Well, look, we've talked about a lot of great stuff, and I mean, there's so much more we could talk about. And this, I don't intend at all being the last Genius Network I ever do with you, because you have so much we could talk about, including CPA networks and going really deep with banner advertising and stuff. But there's been, you've really shared a ton of gems. Any other things that you would like to say, any famous last words from Mike Hill that you would like to leave our listeners with, and then we'll go ahead and if there's any website you want to give out right now that people can look at to track you down, you're welcome to do that. If not, I can have other websites after we discuss it and say, okay, we'll have that edited on and added to the end of this interview. No,
the only other thing I'd say is if you don't believe in what you're saying or what you're selling, then don't say and don't sell. Make sure that you passionately believe in your product. You have to passionately believe in your product so much so that you can convince everyone around you and everyone that you work with that they should be passionate and believe in your product as well. Because if you can't do that, then just don't do it. Pick something else. That's obviously not what you're supposed to be doing if you can't be passionate about it. And as far as products and all that stuff, as you know, I've been, just kind of like you said, a gun for hire, one-on-one guy. But I have found, because I've been doing more public speaking recently, that a lot of people need this information. So I am going to be recording some sessions, and I may even do a seminar. I'm not sure. Everyone seems to be interested in the information. So
the moment you do a seminar, you let me know, and I will let everyone that's a Genius Network subscriber know about it.
I surely will. But I will. If they want more information, I'll post some more information on this stuff and some videos that I'll do about this. The same thing on my website, freetrialmarketing.com.
freetrialmarketing.com.
Right.
Okay. Awesome. Mike, thank you so much. I do want to also add to something you just said. My good friend Dan Sullivan, founder of Strategic Coach, fabulous company, said years ago to me that all money earned ethically is a byproduct of value creation, and I really drilled that into my head. And whatever it is that you do, the more that you can create value for people, you'll never have an issue with wanting to upsell them, put them on a continuity program, and get it into their hands. As a matter of fact, if you create value for the world and you help people, you're almost doing a disservice not only to yourself but also to them by not doing everything humanly possible to put it into their hands. And so this stuff that Mike talked about is just worth a fortune if you use it and you implement it. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share your wisdom. I know you rarely ever do things like this and talk about this sort of stuff. People have to pay literally thousands and thousands. You're not a cheap consultant. You're very expensive, and expensive is relative, of course. What I mean,
when you make $1 million the next month,
you're kind of like any good marketer. You're free. If people hire you, it doesn't cost them anything. But to the average person on the street, dropping over $20,000, a day for a consultant is not something they would typically think of. And just by hearing what we've talked about here, I think it'll put a lot of understanding into a lot of people's minds of just how valuable this is and how impactful just a few tweaks to your campaigns can add, in some cases, make you very wealthy.
Make you a millionaire fast.
Absolutely. So thank you.
You got it, buddy.
All right. To my listeners, just listen for the websites that will be added at the end of this interview, and then you can actually see in real life what we've discussed conceptually here, and you'll go through the process. And, buy some stuff from Mike. As soon as he makes it available, buy it. It will make you a lot of money. And until our next Genius Network interview, thanks for listening. Talk to you later. Hello, this is Joe Polish. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this interview. I hope you found it very useful. Please give me your feedback on all of the interviews that you listen to. I'd love to hear your feedback so we can always deliver a great program for you. Our website is www.joepolish.com, and we also have a Joe Polish Recommends section, so you can take a lot of the ideas and concepts that you hear on my Genius Network interview series and apply them to your business and find vendors and resources. You can go to joepolish.com to find that information and click on the Joe Polish Recommends section. And also, if you would like to find out about more interviews and invest in more useful Genius Network series interviews, go to www.geniusnetwork.com. Thanks, and eat your competition alive.